My beloved child, stop! I need you to freeze, right where you are, and give me your undivided attention. Archangel Michael is standing before you with a message that has been locked inside a sealed chamber in heaven for longer than you can imagine. Today, I have been given the key. Today, that chamber is being opened, and the truth inside it belongs to you alone. Do not move past this moment. Do not convince yourself that you will return to these words at some other hour. I am telling you with an urgency that heaven itself has placed upon my tongue. There will not be another hour like this one. What I hold in my hands right now is a revelation so personal, so precise, and so powerful that it could not be delivered at any other moment in your entire life. The very heartbeat pounding inside your chest right now was numbered by heaven as the one that would be beating when this truth finally reached you. I need you to understand something before I open this chamber. What is inside will change the way you see yourself. It will dismantle lies you have believed for years. And it will begin a healing so complete that by the time this day ends, you will not be the same person who started reading these words. But I cannot force you to stay. I can only tell you what heaven told me this morning when I was given this assignment. Michael, go to this child. Go now. Their heart is finally open. The walls they built have worn thin enough for the truth to get through. This is the moment. And so here I am, standing before you with this unsealed truth trembling in my hands, ready to pour it over your spirit like warm oil on a wound you forgot you had. Stay with me. Breathe. You are safe here. You are held. And before these words are finished, you will know exactly why heaven could not let this night pass without reaching you. I see you, my child. I see everything. I see the exhaustion you carry behind your eyes every single morning when you rise and force yourself to face another day. I see the way you take a breath before you step out into the world, gathering whatever strength you have left like a soldier tightening armor that no longer fits. You have been running on fumes for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to be full. You have been surviving on willpower alone, and your willpower is running dry. I see the smile you put on for everyone around you. That careful, practiced expression you have perfected over years of pretending. The one that tells the world you are fine when your insides are screaming for someone to notice that you are not. You have become so skilled at wearing that mask that sometimes even you believe it. But I see behind it. I always have. I see the nights, beloved. I see every single one of them. The hours when the house grows quiet and the distractions fall away, and there is nothing left between you and the truth of how you really feel. I see you lying awake, staring into darkness. Your mind circling the same painful thoughts, like a bird trapped in a room with no windows. I see the questions that surface only in those late hours, the ones you are too afraid to speak in daylight because you think they would make you sound faithless, ungrateful, or weak. Why does everything still hurt? Why am I still stuck? Why does it feel like everyone else is moving forward while I remain in the same place, carrying the same weight, fighting the same battles I thought I had already won? I hear those questions, my child. Every single one. And not one of them has ever made me love you less. Not one of them has ever caused me to turn away from you. They have only made me more determined to reach you. More resolved to find this exact moment when your defenses would be low enough, your heart open enough, and your spirit hungry enough to finally receive what I have been waiting to deliver. If these words are reaching something deep inside your chest right now, if your eyes are stinging or your throat is tightening, or your breath is catching in a way you cannot quite explain, then type these words into the comments below as a declaration between your spirit and heaven. Amen. I receive this truth today. Type it now, my child. Let heaven know you are listening. Let your own spirit hear your fingers confirm what your heart already knows, that this moment was made for you. Now, stay close to me because the chamber is opening, and what spills out first is this. I know what you have been hiding. I know the weight that sits on your chest like an anchor buried so deep that no amount of deep breathing can shift it. I know about the responsibilities that have piled on your shoulders until your spine bends under them and your spirit groans under the pressure you refuse to let anyone else see. You carry the worries of your household like they belong only to you. You carry the emotional needs of everyone around you, while your own needs go unmet, unspoken, pushed to the back of a line that never reaches your turn. You have made yourself the strong one, the dependable one, the one who answers the phone at midnight and shows up even when your own heart is shattered into pieces so small you cannot find them all anymore. And you think no one notices. You think the sacrifices you make disappear into the air like breath on a cold morning. You believe that the tears you shed in private, the prayers you whisper through clenched teeth, the moments when you lock yourself in a bathroom just to breathe for 30 seconds without someone needing something from you. You believe all of that goes unseen, unrecorded, unremembered. My child, every single moment has been recorded in heaven. Every sacrifice, every tear, every whispered prayer, every time you chose someone else's peace over your own. Heaven has a record of it all, and that record is glowing with the light of your faithfulness. You may feel invisible to the world, but you have never been invisible to me. I also know what lives beneath all of that strength you wear like armor. I know about the fear. The deep, quiet, relentless fear that whispers to you when no one else is around. The fear that says your best years have already passed. The fear that says the people you love most will eventually leave. The fear that says you are one bad day away from everything falling apart. I have watched that fear wrap itself around your thoughts like a vine, tightening its grip until your confidence shrinks, your hope dims, and your faith feels like a candle flame in a hurricane. And still you keep going. Still you show up. Still you pray. Still you hope, even when hope feels more like a memory than a living thing inside you. Do you understand what that tells me about you? Do you understand what heaven sees when it looks at you pushing forward through fear that thick, through exhaustion that deep, through loneliness that heavy? Heaven sees someone who refuses to quit. Someone whose spirit has been tested in fires that would have consumed a lesser soul. Someone who has every human reason to walk away from faith but chooses not to. That is not weakness, my child. That is the kind of strength that makes angels pause and watch. That is the kind of endurance that heaven writes songs about. And I refuse to let you go one more hour believing that your struggle makes you small, when it is the very thing that reveals how immeasurably large your spirit truly is. Now listen carefully, because this next truth from the sealed chamber is the one that your heart has been starving for. And it is going to cut through every lie the enemy has planted in your mind about who you are supposed to be and what you are supposed to endure. You were never meant to carry this alone. Let me say that again, because I need it to reach the deepest room in your spirit where the lie has been living. You were never, not for a single day of your life, designed to shoulder this weight by yourself. The burden you are carrying right now, the one that makes your chest tight and your thoughts heavy, and your joy feel like a distant memory, that burden was never assigned to your hands. You picked it up because no one else would. You picked it up because the world taught you that needing help was the same thing as being a burden, and you would rather break than be a burden to anyone. But my child, that is a lie straight from the pit of hell. And today, I am tearing it out of your belief system with my own hands. I never designed you to be the one who holds everything together. I never built your spirit to absorb every wound, every disappointment, every betrayal without ever releasing any of it. You are not a vault for pain. You are not a warehouse for grief. You are my child. And children are meant to bring their heaviness to their father, not swallow it in silence until it poisons them from the inside out. The exhaustion you feel is not a character flaw. It is the consequence of carrying something that belongs in divine hands, The confusion you cannot shake is not spiritual failure. It is the natural result of dragging weight that was never supposed to be on your back. The emotional numbness, the flatness. That is not depression, my child. That is a spirit collapsing under a load it was never built to bear. And I cannot watch it happen for one more day. I cannot sit in heaven and observe you grinding yourself down to dust, trying to prove that you are strong enough to handle what even the angels would struggle to carry alone. You are strong. You are remarkably, impossibly, divinely strong. But strength was never meant to be a solo performance. Strength was meant to flow through you from my hands, not be manufactured inside you from sheer willpower and desperation. Today, I am making you a promise from the throne room of heaven itself. You do not have to perform your way through one more hour. You do not have to pretend for one more conversation. You do not have to lie awake tonight wondering if you have enough left to face tomorrow. Because I am here. I have always been here. And the truth from this sealed chamber is not just that I see you. It is that I have been reaching for you this entire time. And today, your heart is finally close enough for my hands to touch it. The walls you built, the ones that kept the world out but also kept me out, those walls are thinning. I can feel your spirit longing to let go, longing to collapse into arms strong enough to hold every broken piece without flinching. Those arms are mine, and they have been open since before you were born. Right now, my child, I need you to plant something in the soil of this moment. Type these words as a declaration that heaven is about to record. I will not carry this alone anymore. Today, I give it to God. Type it. Speak it. Let your fingers press those keys like you are signing a contract with heaven. Because that is exactly what you are doing. You are releasing the weight. You are handing me the keys to the rooms in your heart that you locked so long ago you forgot what was inside them. And I am about to walk in and clean every single one. Now I need to tell you something that might shake the ground beneath your understanding of how today unfolded. Because what you believe about this moment is wrong, and the truth about it is far more extraordinary than anything your mind would have allowed you to imagine. You think you stumbled upon these words. You think it was a random pause, a momentary distraction, an idle click, driven by nothing more than curiosity or the quiet ache you carry. You believe this was an accident, a coincidence, a small, insignificant detour in your otherwise overwhelming day. My child, nothing about this moment is accidental. Not one fraction of 1 second of it. I orchestrated this. I arranged every single circumstance that led you to this exact place at this exact time. I stirred a restlessness in your spirit hours ago, a pull toward something deeper that you could not name but could not ignore. That pull was my hand on your heart. That restlessness was my voice calling you before you could hear the words. Every choice you made in the last several hours was a step on a path I had already drawn for you. This meeting was scheduled in heaven before the sun rose over your city this morning, before your eyes opened, before your first conscious thought formed. There was a conversation in the courts of heaven about you, about this precise hour, about whether your heart would be ready. And I was told, go. The time has arrived, the walls are thin enough, the hunger is deep enough, the weariness has stripped away enough pretending that the truth can finally reach the real person underneath all the armor. Do you understand what that means? It means heaven looked at every soul on this earth today and chose this hour to reach you. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not at some vague future date when you have your life together and your faith is shining and your heart is no longer heavy. No. Heaven chose you in your messiest, most exhausted, most confused, most overwhelmed state. Because that is when the truth lands deepest. That is when the sealed chamber opens widest. That is when the words I carry have the power to reach rooms inside you that your strength has been blocking for years. You are not here because you failed to keep scrolling. You are here because heaven refused to let you pass by the one message that was crafted specifically for the wounds you carry the questions you whisper, and the future that is waiting on the other side of this single conversation between your spirit and mind. Every word I have spoken so far was the warm-up. The real truth, the one sealed inside the innermost chamber, is still coming. And when it arrives, it will touch places in your heart that have not been touched in years. Stay with me. Now, as this truth settles into your spirit, prepare yourself, because the sealed chamber has more rooms left to open. And what waits behind the next door will reach even deeper than what you have heard so far. Now that you know this moment was arranged by heaven itself, I need you to prepare your heart for what comes next, because the sealed chamber has more than one room inside it, and the door I am about to open leads to the place where I have kept every record of your suffering. Every moment you thought no one saw. Every night you thought you endured alone. It is all here. And I am about to walk you through it so you understand, once and for all, that you have never been as alone as the enemy made you believe. I was there on the nights when sleep refused to come, when the house fell silent and the weight you had been outrunning all day finally caught up with you and sat on your chest like a stone. I was there. I felt the way your thoughts spiraled, circling the same fears, the same regrets, the same unanswered questions until your body was trembling, but your brain would not let you rest. You whispered my name on some of those nights, barely audible, more breath than sound. You were not even sure I was listening, but I caught every single whisper. I held every syllable the way a father holds a newborn, with the full weight of my attention and none of the judgment you feared. And on the nights you did not whisper, the nights when the pain was so thick that words could not form and all you could do was lie there with tears sliding down your temples into your pillow, I was there for those too. I counted every tear. I measured every ache. I noted every sigh that carried more meaning than 1,000 prayers spoken in perfect sentences. Your silence was never silence to me. It was the loudest, most honest conversation your spirit has ever had with heaven. I saw the mornings after those nights. You peeled yourself out of bed, even though every cell in your body was begging you to stay. You splashed water on your face to hide the evidence. You assembled your mask, piece by piece. The calm voice, the steady hands, the expression that said everything is fine when everything was burning. And you stepped into the day and performed strength for people who had no idea what it cost you. My child, do you know what that cost? Do you know what heaven recorded in those moments? It recorded heroism. Not the kind the world celebrates with trophies and applause. The quiet kind. The invisible kind. The kind that only heaven sees. When a person whose heart is in pieces gets up anyway, shows up anyway, loves anyway, gives anyway, serves anyway, believes anyway. That is the bravery that makes thrones in heaven tremble with admiration. I saw the afternoons when something small triggered a flood you were not prepared for. A song. A word someone said without knowing it would land like a hammer on the thinnest part of your heart. I saw you excuse yourself and walk quickly to a place where no one could see the tears. You thought you were hiding. You were never hiding from me. I watched you swallow words you needed to speak because you were afraid of how they would be received. I watched you absorb criticism that was unfair and smile through conversations that cut you to your core. I watched you forgive people who never asked for forgiveness and love people who had stopped trying to love you back. I watched you pour from a cup that has been empty for longer than you can remember, and I watched you wonder why you feel so hollow when you have given so much. I see it all, beloved, and I need you to hear this next part with every fiber of your being. Not one drop of your sacrifice has been wasted. Not one tear has fallen without being caught. Not one night of pain has passed without being documented in heaven's records. Every single thing you have endured is producing something so magnificent, so perfectly designed for your future, that when you finally see it, you will fall to your knees and weep. Not from pain, but from the overwhelming realization that every moment of suffering was a thread being woven into the most beautiful tapestry you have ever seen. If this channel and these messages have become a place where your spirit finds rest, where these words meet you in the exact place your heart needs to be met, then subscribe to this channel right now. Press that button as a commitment that you will keep showing up for the truths heaven wants to deliver to you. This is not the last sealed chamber. There are more truths waiting, more revelations, more healing. And every single one of them has your name written on it. Subscribe now so that not one of them passes you by. Now we reach the part of the sealed chamber that holds the deepest truth, the one your spirit has been reaching for without even knowing it had a name, the one that explains why you feel the way you feel, why rest does not restore you, why sleep does not refresh you, why even the good days still carry a weight that never fully lifts. My child, you are exhausted in a place that sleep cannot reach. You are drained in a layer of your being that no vacation can replenish, no distraction can numb, and no amount of willpower can override. And the reason is not because something is wrong with you. The reason is because you have been carrying burdens that were never assigned to your hands. Let me show you what I mean. There are things in your mind right now, problems, fears, or responsibilities, unresolved situations, that you have been wrestling with as though the outcome depends entirely on you. You wake up thinking about them. You go to sleep calculating solutions for them. You carry them into every conversation, every prayer, every quiet moment, turning them over and over like stones in your palm, trying to find the angle that will finally make them fit. And the harder you try, the heavier they become. The more you analyze, the more confused you grow. The more solutions you attempt, the more tangled the situation becomes. This is not a puzzle you are failing to solve, beloved. This is a weight you were never supposed to pick up. Some of those burdens belong to other people. People you love, people you feel responsible for. But their choices are not your assignment. Their growth is not your project. Their peace is not something you can manufacture for them, no matter how hard you try or how much of yourself you sacrifice in the attempt. You have been trying to carry their world and yours, and your knees are buckling under the combined weight. Some of those burdens belong to the past. Decisions that were made years ago, words that were spoken that can never be unspoken. Relationships that ended in ways that left wounds still open and bleeding beneath the surface. You carry regret like a second skeleton inside your body, an invisible frame of guilt and what if, and if only that makes every step heavier than it needs to be. But those moments are gone, my child. They have already happened. They cannot be rewritten, and carrying them forward into every new day is not faithfulness. It is imprisonment. And some of those burdens, the heaviest ones of all, belong to me. They are burdens that I explicitly, specifically, and deliberately told you to hand over. The worry about your future, the fear about your family, the anxiety about whether provision will come, the dread of what might happen next. These are not your department. These were never your department. They are mine. And every minute you spend carrying them is a minute stolen from the life I designed for you to live in freedom. Do you know what happens to a tree when you hang weight on its branches that exceeds what the trunk was built to support? The branches crack. The roots pull from the ground. It dies from carrying what it was never designed to bear. And that is exactly what has been happening to your spirit. The tiredness that lives in your bones. The fog that sits in your mind. The flatness that has crept into your joy. The emotional numbness that makes you wonder if something is fundamentally broken inside you. None of that is brokenness. All of it is the consequence of divine weight sitting on human shoulders. You're not falling apart because you are weak. You are buckling because you are carrying what belongs to God. Today that changes. Today I am reaching into that tangle of burdens you have been gripping so tightly that your fingers have gone numb, and I am peeling them away from you one by one. Not because you asked, not because you performed well enough to earn it, but because I love you, And love does not sit in heaven, watching its child collapse under weight that has a divine address on it. So right now, in this holy moment, I need you to do something that your flesh will resist, but your spirit craves. Type these words as a decree over your own life. I release what was never mine to carry. God, take it all today. Type it now. Speak it out loud if you can. Let your voice crack. Let your eyes fill. Let your hands shake. Because what is happening in your spirit right now is not weakness. It is the sound of chains falling from your wrists and hitting the floor of heaven with a crash that echoes through eternity. Now that the false weight is falling away, I need to show you what has been hidden underneath it. Because the enemy did not just pile burdens on you to make you tired. He did it to make you forget who you are. He knew that if he could keep you exhausted enough, distracted enough, and overwhelmed enough, you would never have the energy to look in the mirror and see what heaven sees when it looks at you. And what heaven sees, my child, will take your breath away. You have been calling yourself weak. The enemy has been whispering it into your ear every time you struggled, every time you fell, every time your knees gave out and you ended up face down on the floor, wondering if you had anything left. He pointed at your tears and called them proof of failure. He pointed at your sleepless nights and called them evidence of a broken spirit. He pointed at the moments you wanted to give up and called them confirmation that you do not have what it takes. And you believed him. Not because you are gullible, but because you were so tired that his lies sounded more realistic than the truth. But I am here to demolish every single one of those lies with the force of heaven itself. You are not weak. You have never been weak. You have been carrying weight that was not yours, while fighting battles that were not announced, while pouring yourself out for people who never noticed the cost. And you are still here. You are still breathing. You are still reaching for God despite every reason the world has given you to stop. Do you know what that is, beloved? That is not weakness, that is warfare. You are a warrior. A quiet one, yes. A gentle one, absolutely. One who fights with prayers instead of fists, and with love instead of anger, and with endurance instead of aggression. But a warrior nonetheless. And heaven does not measure warriors by the volume of their battle cry. Heaven measures warriors by how many nights they survived that should have destroyed them. And you have survived more than anyone around you will ever know. Every tear you shed was not a sign of defeat. It was the sound of a spirit that refused to go numb. In a world that rewards emotional shutdown, you kept feeling. You kept caring. Your tears are not your weakness. They are your superpower. They are proof that the fire you have walked through did not burn away your humanity. It refined it. Every night you survived without telling a soul was not evidence of isolation. It was evidence of an inner fortitude so rare that heaven itself took note of it. You think those nights were your lowest moments. I am telling you they were your highest. Because in those moments when every support system had gone to sleep, and every distraction had faded, and you were left with nothing but the raw, unfiltered reality of your pain, you chose to keep breathing. You chose to keep believing. You chose to reach for me even when your hands were shaking, and your voice was gone, and your faith felt like a threadbare cloth that could tear at any second. That thread never tore. Do you know why? Because I was holding the other end of it. Every single time. Now hear me with the full weight of heaven behind every word. The sealed chamber is almost empty, and what remains is the charge. The commission that today demands you receive. Stop pretending. Stop performing strength you do not feel. Stop manufacturing smiles that cost you more energy than running a marathon. Stop telling the world you are fine when your spirit is screaming for someone to hold you. Stop building walls around the parts of you that hurt because you are terrified of what will happen if someone sees them. Let me in. Let me into the rooms you locked. Let me into the closets where you hid the grief. Let me into the basement where the old wounds are stacked like boxes no one has opened in years. Let me walk through every hall of your heart that you have been guarding with your last reserves of energy. And let me do what only I can do. Let me heal what you have been managing. Let me restore what you have been patching together with willpower and duct tape, and prayers you were not even sure I was hearing. I was hearing them. Every single one. And today I am answering them all at once. You have reached the innermost room of the sealed chamber, my child. This is the place where the most protected truth has been waiting. The truth that heaven guarded so carefully that it could only be delivered at the exact moment when your heart was raw enough, open enough, and desperate enough to receive it without your defenses deflecting it away. Everything I have said so far has been preparation for this. Every word was a key turning in a different lock. Every truth was a layer being peeled back. And now there is nothing left between you and the core of what heaven sent me to deliver. Here it is. Your pain does not define you. Read that again. Slowly. Let every letter press into the soil of your spirit like a seed being planted by divine hands. Your pain does not define you. The things that happen to you are not the blueprint of your identity. The wounds you carry are not the architecture of your future. The nights you barely survived are not the ceiling of what your life can become. The tears you have cried are not the currency with which your destiny is purchased. You have believed, somewhere in the deep places where beliefs form before words can capture them, that you are the sum of what you have suffered. That the betrayals shaped you into someone unworthy of loyalty. That the rejections carved you into someone undeserving of acceptance. That the losses hollowed you out until there was not enough left to build anything beautiful upon. Those beliefs are lies, expertly crafted, watered by repetition and fertilized by loneliness, until they grew into a forest so thick you could not see the sky anymore. But today, I am taking an axe to every tree in that forest, and I am telling you with the full authority of the throne of heaven, you are not defined by your worst moments. You are defined by the one who held you through them. You are not the product of your pain. You are the product of my purpose. Before the wound existed, the plan existed. Before the betrayal happened, the restoration was written. Before the loss tore a hole in your heart, the filling was already prepared. You were never an afterthought. You were never a casualty. You were never collateral damage in someone else's destruction. You were chosen. Specifically. Deliberately. With full knowledge of every scar you would carry and every night you would survive and every tear you would shed. And the truth that the sealed chamber has been protecting all this time is this. Everything you went through was necessary. Not because you deserved to suffer. Never that. But because the person you are becoming requires a foundation that only those experiences could build. The depth of compassion you carry was forged in your own suffering. The tenderness you show to broken people was born in your own brokenness. The faith that still flickers inside you despite everything that tried to extinguish it was tempered in fires that would have consumed a faith built on easier ground. You are not damaged goods, my child. You are a masterwork. You are a living testimony to the truth that heaven's purpose cannot be derailed by earthly pain. You are proof that the enemy's worst assault cannot destroy what God has designated for greatness. Every crack in your heart is a place where my light enters. Every scar on your spirit is a mark of survival that heaven wears as a badge of honor on your behalf. I am proud of you, do you hear me? I am not disappointed in you. I am not frustrated by your struggles. I am not growing impatient with your questions. I am not keeping a record of the times you fell short, or the moments your faith wavered, or the nights when you wondered if I was even real. I am proud of you. Proud of the way you kept getting up. Proud of the way you kept forgiving. Proud of the way you kept loving even when love cost you everything. Proud of the way you showed up for other people when your own cup was bone dry. Proud of the way you held on to faith with fingernails and tears and shaking hands when the storm was so loud you could not hear my voice. You heard it anyway. You felt it anyway. And you chose me anyway. And that choice, repeated 1,000 times in 1,000 dark moments when no one was watching and no one was applauding and no one was counting. That choice is the most beautiful thing I have ever witnessed in all of creation. This is your decree, beloved. Receive it now and let it settle into the marrow of your bones. You are held. You are seen. You are known. You are loved. And nothing that has happened to you, nothing that is happening now, and nothing that will ever happen in the days to come has the power to change one syllable of that truth. Your identity is not written in the ink of your circumstances. It is carved in the stone of heaven's eternal record, and that record says you are mine, you are precious, you are unbreakable in my hands, and your best days are not behind you. They are so far ahead of you that if I showed you right now what I have prepared, your human mind could not contain the glory of it. Today marks the turning point. Today, the sealed chamber stands empty because every truth it held now lives inside your spirit. Today, the weight lifts. Today, the chains fall. Today, the lies lose their power. Today, the fog clears. Today, the warrior rises. And from this moment forward, you walk not in the shadow of your past, but in the blazing light of the future I have already secured for you. Let everything that was spoken today settle into the deepest chambers of your spirit. You came to this moment carrying the weight of hidden battles, unspoken fears, and years of pretending you were strong enough to handle it all alone. And in this hour, heaven broke through. The sealed chamber was opened. The truth was delivered. The lies were demolished. The weight was lifted. And you were reminded of the most powerful truth in all of existence, that you are held, you are seen, you are loved beyond human measurement, and you are never walking alone. Carry this truth out of this moment and into someone else's darkness. Think of at least 3 people right now who are fighting battles no one sees. The friend whose smile hides more than anyone knows. The family member who has stopped asking for help. Send this to them today, as a text message, in your church group, through your family WhatsApp chat. You have the power to become a bridge between heaven and someone who is running out of strength. If these messages have become a sanctuary for your spirit, a place where your heart is met with truth that heals and words that reach the places no one else can touch, then I invite you to become part of the community that makes this mission possible. By visiting the link in the description or the pinned comment and joining through a membership, or by sowing a seed of support, you become a partner in delivering these sealed truths to souls all over the world who are still waiting for heaven to reach them. Every act of generosity plants a torch in someone else's darkness, and heaven records every seed. Subscribe to this channel right now so that the next truth heaven seals for you does not pass you by. Press that button as a covenant between your spirit and the messages that are still coming, because today was only the beginning. Now bow your head with me, beloved. Heavenly Father, I bring this precious child before your throne. You know every wound they carry. You know every tear they have shed in secret. You know every night they survived alone. I ask you now, in the mighty name of Jesus, wrap your arms around them so tightly that they feel your presence in their bones. Lift every burden that does not belong to them. Heal every wound that time alone could not touch. Restore every joy that pain stole from their days. Replace every lie with your unchanging truth. Guard their mind through the night. Shield their heart from the enemy's whispers, and let them wake tomorrow with a strength that comes not from willpower, but from the deep, unshakable knowledge that they are yours, held, loved, protected, and destined for a future so bright that the darkness of their past cannot even cast a shadow upon it. In the holy and mighty name of Jesus Christ, amen and amen.